It's very clear that it can be confusing to many people. You hear a lot of different stories on climate change, but really there's a good degree of consensus, both within the science part and within the economics part. But very often those two get conflated, and therefore it's important to get them out separately. Yes, on the science side, climate change is happening. So yes, we have a problem, we need to fix it. But on the economic side, we're also being told that actually cutting carbon emissions, as virtually everyone suggests right now, is going to be very expensive if you focus on doing it right now. So we need a smarter solution. The smart solution to climate change is about making sure that renewables and other green energy technologies become much cheaper. Right now, everybody seems to be focusing on making fossil fuels much more expensive. But let's just be honest, say there's no way we're ever going to get fossil fuels to be so expensive that people stop using them. So my point is in saying, instead of trying to make fossil fuels so expensive we won't use them, why not try to make green energies so cheap that everybody will use them? Right now, everybody's talking about putting up solar panels or windmills and stuff, but they're all inefficient, which means essentially it's only rich Westerners who will put up a few of these to show how good they are. What we need is to have solar panels and windmills so cheap that even Chinese and Indians will put them up instead of using fossil fuels. So it's about going from trying to punish everybody to do the right thing to make innovations so obvious that everybody will want to do the right thing. Economics can teach us how to use our resources efficiently. And so when we try to prioritize what actually works, I think the crucial point is that economics can put a price tag on what we try to achieve. Very many people talk about global warming as a huge problem and therefore we need to act. Well, there's a lot of things that are huge problems, but we still have to look at the smartness of the individual solutions. And that's exactly what economics can do. It can put price tags on both the cost of the solutions and how much good they do. The point that I try to make is to ask most people to engage in thinking, when would you rather live? Would you rather live in 1800, 1900, and 2000? When you start realizing that most of the factors that carry through to human benefit, basically human life quality, they have actually improved. We have more food than we've ever had before. We have more availability of water also in the sense of clean drinking water. We have more availability of virtually all the major things that matter. And in that sense, human life quality, the state of the world, if you will, have been dramatically improving over the last 400 years. Now, this does not mean that there are no problems. There are definitely many problems we still need to fix. But it's important to understand that things are not going downhill. They're actually improving. It's very clear that the whole idea of population growth was a big issue back in the 70s. We all worried about the planet being overcrowded and wouldn't be able to feed everyone. As it turned out, we actually had a green revolution that pretty much made all those very scary predictions to shame. This does not mean that there's not a problem. Very clearly, if you have more people, you have more emissions, you have more consumer demands, you have more problems. There's, like with most other things, a benefit and a cost. The cost clearly is that you'll have more pollution, you'll have more consumption demands. The benefit, however, of more individuals is also that we have more innovation, that we have more possibility in the world. And look how much more you can do in a world where so many people are here. They can entertain you, they can make styles, they can make music, they can make experiences that you wouldn't have had before, and they can make innovations. So yes, there are costs, but we also have to remember there are actually benefits from having a lot of people. Well, the problem, I criticized the Copenhagen meeting here very publicly. The problem was that it's not nearly as well organized as the UN Climate Panel, which brings together thousands of scientists, the best scientists we have on the planet, on what are climate change science. it's important to say that most of the people that were invited to talk about sea level are people who have, for a very long time, been arguing that it's going to be in the high end. Now, I have great respect for these people. They're definitely good science people, but it's important to realize they're only a part of this discussion. You have to listen to a wide range of opinions before you make decisions that could possibly be the most costly decisions we've ever made in human history. So I would like to believe that we have slightly better use of knowledge than just the Copenhagen meeting, which seemed a little designed to make a specific conclusion. It's important to say when you talk about the environment, you've got to ask for whom. Because clearly, if you look at what is the biggest environmental problem in the world today? Now, if you ask most people, they'll probably tell you climate change, although in the US they'll actually tell you that it's water supply instead. But clearly, if you look at the number of dead people, it's a totally different thing. It's something that nobody's really heard about. It's indoor air pollution. Now, most of us don't even think about this, but that's because we don't have to worry about this anymore. Most places in the third world, you still keep warm and you cook with very, very primitive, you almost want to say medieval techniques. You basically burn whatever you can find. It means that especially kids and women have huge amounts of pollutants inside the homes when they cook and when they keep warm. It probably kills somewhere between 1.4 to 1.6 million people each year. That's the biggest environmental problem in the world. Now, the reason why we don't hear about it is because it's not sexy. In the Western world, the most important environmental problem is probably outdoor air pollution. Again, it's not climate change, it's outdoor air pollution. In the US, it's estimated that 110,000 people die each year because of particulate air pollution, especially from diesel cars. Now, this is a huge amount. This is 3 times the number of people who die on the roads. This is a huge environmental problem, but one, again, that we don't talk very much about because it's a boring problem. I just want to say, what is the right way to fix this? Well, it's about putting filters in diesel cars. It's very simple. It's kind of expensive, but it's still a very, very good idea. Now, much further down comes climate change, because climate change is a problem. It is one we need to fix. But the way we try to fix it right now is essentially to say, let's spend lots of money and do virtually no good. I would just like us to actually spend perhaps less money, but do a lot more good with that money. If what we care about are future generations' impacts on climate change, why don't we actually do something about that? And that's, of course, by investing in green energy technologies, but investing in the research to make them cheaper so that everybody can afford them. Greenpeace and other environmental organizations are great in the sense that they keep us honest on the climate area. They come, and many other environmental areas, they come in and say, here's a problem. But let's not be fooled. Of course, they also have an interest in telling us this. And my concern is that almost everyone discount what industry says, but virtually no one discount what green organizations say. So I'm like, we should definitely have green organizations. We should be very happy they're there. But we shouldn't take them as the sole source of our information. Absolutely. I think we definitely ought to introduce much more economics, much more scientific thinking into schools. We're actually right now working on trying to do something, and I have great hopes that at least that will teach everyone to start being a little more realistic about what you can do. We have a project called Bill Gates for a Day, where we actually ask people, what if you could be Bill Gates for a day? How would you spend $50 billion? Now, if you couldn't spend them on yourself, how would you spend them to do the most good for the world? And the amazing thing is that once we do this with school kids, with high school kids, with university students, once we say you only have 50 billion, people start feeling the weight of responsibility on their shoulders. They want to do it right because they realize if I spend the 50 billion here, I can't spend it over here. That's the great investment and I think great opportunity for our schools to get into. So yes, I'd love to see more prioritization, more economics in schools as well.